Hi, welcome to Jamaican Cooking 101. Today we're making a cheesecake. It's not a traditional dish here in Jamaica, but we're using traditional ingredients. So this is a rum and raisin coconut cheesecake. So I'm going to prep the ingredients and I'll be right back. Welcome back. So I have already placed 8 ounces of cream cheese in the mixing bowl and I have measured out most of my ingredients here. I have milk, butter, raisins, some sugar, some crackers, flour and eggs. I'm going to be using a hand mixer just to cream out the mixture. But first of all, I'm going to soften up the cream cheese a bit. So I'm going in, I'm using the hand mixer for just about 2 to 3 minutes, to get the mixture creamy, to get the cream cheese creamy. I suggest that you allow the cream cheese to sit at room temperature for a while so that it's easier to cream. Your eggs, just the same. Make sure that they're at room temperature. Alright, so I'm going to be adding in some granulated sugar right after I've scraped the side of the bowl. And you can see that the cheese is very creamy now, and it would be easier for the sugar to be incorporated. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and use the hand mixer to continue creaming, and then I'm going to be adding some more sugar. So this is 8 ounces of cream cheese to 1 cup of granulated sugar. Once I'm finished with that, I am going to be adding some of our flavorings after I have added the eggs. I'm adding 3 whole eggs and the yolk of 3 other eggs. So I'm going in, you can beat the eggs just before pouring it into the cream cheese mixture. Be sure to put them in one at a time because we don't want the mixture to curdle. There are some recipes that call for more than 3 eggs, as in more than 6 eggs, but then this is the one I'm using. Alright, so once I'm finished creaming out the mixture, have added the egg, it will be time to add some flour and flavorings. Alright, so I have this little instrument here, this little item that I find to be very handy in separating an egg. Alright, so I'm just going to use 3 egg yolks, and this is going to make the mixture very rich. So once I've gotten those in and have incorporated the eggs and everything in, then I'm going to now add some flour. And the flour is just to thicken up everything, thicken up the cheesecake, because you don't want it too soft. Well, at least I don't like it too soft. I want something to move into. Alright, so here I have 1/4 cup of milk and I've squeezed a lemon into it, half of a lemon, and this is going to serve as my heavy cream today. So it's going to give it a little tangy, tart taste, and I like that about cheesecake. Some persons will put sour cream, but I am using that little mixture. Alright, I have here some raisins. I have soaked them in rum and I'll be adding that. So I've added now 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and as I stated before, that is just for structure, just to keep the cheesecake together, right, and to give it some amount of firmness. Alright, once I've gotten that combined, I'm adding the chopped raisins, and I have some shredded coconut here on hand. I have cut away the back part, which is the dark part, and have only shredded the white piece. So I am not going to put too much of this because coconut has a very strong flavor and we don't want it overpowering the other ingredients. So now I have this fruit. You would have seen it from my Jamaican food facts. This is known as ugly fruit, sour orange, lemon, all sorts of names, but it has a rich flavor, and so I'm using a bit of the rind. All right, not too much now. The idea for this type of cheesecake came about from Auntie Lorena. Auntie Lorena, if you're watching, big up yourself. Thank you so much. This cheesecake is really tasty and this is her signature dish. All right, so we have most of our ingredients, but I'm going to put in little white rum. Now it may not look white, and that is simply because it has been in a jar with some raisins. You know, yeah, soak raisins. So I'm pouring off the rum into the cheesecake mixture, and you know, once this touch the oven, it's gonna evaporate for the most part, but it's gonna have that hint of rum in it. All right, so I'm getting the mixture together, and then I'm gonna show you how to prepare your baking tin, your baking dish. I should have done that before, but you know it go. Excitement and all. All right, so let me quickly do that. I have some melted fat and I have some crackers, but here's what we have to prepare the baking dish before we put in that mixture of crackers and butter. So I have here one of them stylish springform baking dish, and so I've set that up, and I'm gonna add the melted butter to the crackers. And you know, a girl have to add a little sugar. Alright, so I've added a bit of sugar to that, and next I'm gonna add the melted butter. You could just dust the pan, the baking tin, you know, grease it with nicely with some butter, and then dust it with the crackers. Or you could make a real thick crust, which is what I'm going to be doing here today. Alright, so I'm gonna press this into the baking tin to get a nice crust at the bottom of this cheesecake. Yeah, you might say using my hand and all of that, but look here, I know what it feels like, how thick it is when I use my hand. If you don't want to use your hand, use your measuring cup to just press it in nicely. Alright, some persons will bake it before putting in the cream cheese mixture, but I'm not baking it. The crackers them don't cook already. Alright, so I'm getting all of my mixture into that, and you know, it's really nice if you have a high cheesecake, but that's not the case today. My own is not gonna be a high one. Alright, so I have some water here in a baking dish, and I have lined the bottom of my springform pan with some foil. And this is just precautionary measures. I don't want the mixture running out, and I don't want water getting into the baking tin. It might not have happened had I not used the foil, but I want to be sure, so I'm just doing it. If you know your baking tin is trusty like that, go right ahead and do it. Why am I baking the cheesecake in a water bath? It allows the cheesecake to be mellow and moist. Alright, and it kind of prevents some amount of burning. So I'm going into the oven now with 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I am going to lower the temperature once it starts heating up the cheesecake mixture. All right, so we're gonna allow that to stay in 45 minutes to an hour, and this is what it looks like. Right, so I'm gonna be taking that out. It is springy and feels very good. Taking that out, resting it on cooling rack, and then we're about to turn it out of the pan. But guess what, a cheesecake is supposed to be left in the oven with the oven door open so that it cools down well, and that prevents the cheesecake from cracking. All right, so here we have the cheesecake. We are allowing it to cool down, and then we pull the spring and allow it to cool some more. Once you have it adequately cooled, then you can add your topping. Now your topping could be whatever your preference is. If it's one from the can, no problem, but today I'm going to be using some sorrel. This is sorrel jam that I've melted down, and I'm just adding some to the top. It has bits of sorrel, so when you bite into this cheesecake, you're gonna be tasting loads of flavors. All right, now I'm just spreading the sorrel jam to the edges so that it can, you know, run down and look really exotic. All right, so once I've gotten that done, I am going to cut a nice little slice so you can see what the inside looks like. And guys, this is smelling really rich, really good. All right, and the colors here, you can see they're just coming together nicely. All right, so I'm cutting a triangle, a nice little triangular slice, and we're going in for a big enough piece. Yes. Now you could decorate it some more with some whipped topping, or if you want, you could make up some icing and, you know, pipe some around the edges and make it look more decorative. But I'm just gonna add a sprig of mint and some shredded coconut to the top. So I have a little piece of the crust left back, but we will deal with that later. So I present to you the Jamaican rum and raisin coconut cheesecake. Alright, so guys, you can try your own cheesecake and put your spin on it. Alright, so I have decorated it nicely, and you can choose whichever way you want to decorate yours. But do enjoy the recipe. Go ahead and try. And thank you so much for watching Jamaican Cooking 101.